New York
Coming
Times
up,
report came out that showed that black boys who are raised in two-parent households with the highest level of income still have the highest probability of being poor in their lifetime. And that's not because of the parents and the parents alone, it's because of institutional and systemic racism. I would strongly caution against rhetoric like that because
Like what?
saying that somebody would conduct themselves better if they
But I'm
have
asking
or
you, I didn't
haven't.
say, I'm just asking.
Right now, what the research has shown us, especially when we're talking about raising black children, in particular black boys, it doesn't matter what your social circumstances are, right? It doesn't matter how you behave or how you act, or even if we think about somebody like Elijah McClain, who was killed by police, last year. You know, you had this really soft boy who was playing violin for kittens, right? It doesn't necessarily matter who you are or in what sort of aspect you have, you are still subjected to racial inequality.
Amazing.
So
yes, guys, welcome to Culture War. My name is Roland. In this particular episode, Jess is going to be interviewing a BLM activist who strongly believes that blacks can't get anywhere in life. They can't succeed. Black families can't succeed because of white supremacy. This is hard to watch. Yeah, you're gonna enjoy it. I'm not going to be giving any spoilers. Just watch the video, and I want you to react to the video in the comment section. And also, if you've not subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to get more videos like this. So, as usual, without further ado, let's dive in.
Were you raised by both parents,
yes,
father and mother in the home?
yes.
And as a result, you didn't get in a lot of trouble and carry on like that.
Well, I mean, I think we all get in trouble. I think
But
like
as a result of having both parents in the home, you didn't get in as much trouble as those kids do that don't have both parents at home.
nah. I mean, I definitely did because I was with the kids that didn't have both parents at home. I think we
So
are.
you're saying, yes, you did as much damage as they did?
Well, I think the issue isn't that I did as much damage as they did. I think, again, teenagers, regardless of whether they have two parents in the home, whether they have just a working mom or both parents are working or no parents are working, right? Like teenagers do stuff because they're teenagers,
So did you
right?
cause as much problem having two parents at home as those kids did who did not have two parents at home?
Well, again, I think the like that's not the case, right? Because some of that stuff is conflicting, right? So my mother passed while I was in high school, right? And then we shifted over to a single parent household with my dad leading that, right? Like so that same narrative doesn't necessarily fit neatly. I have a lot of friends who went through all kind of different things, but it wasn't because that their parents were or were not at home. They
What
were
I'm trying
going
to
through
find
things.
out is did you get in as much trouble as a result of having two parents at home as opposed to those kids who did not have two parents?
Well, again, right? Well,
Did you get in as much trouble as
how
they
are you
did?
defining trouble?
Fights and break-ins and acting out of orderly and the schools and things. Did you do all that as a result of having parents in the home?
Well, I don't think that was a result of having parents in the home.
So your two parents didn't play a role in your life at all as opposed to how you conducted yourself when you were out?
Well, I think the challenge to what you're asking or how you're framing it is that parents and parents alone are the thing that's going to stop that.
Well, I haven't got to that yet. I'm just asking, having the two parents in the home, did that impact you differently than it did with the kids who did not have two parents in the home as far as how to carry yourself and act when you're out in public? Did that impact you?
Well, I think it would be a lie to say that it didn't. I think the issue isn't that,
But did it
right?
impact you in a good way?
I mean, of course it did, right?
And so if
But
those
that's
other
not the.
kids had two parents at home, is there a possibility that they would be impacted by having, in a good way, by having two parents in the home as well?
Well, I mean, again, right? So that would then put the blame on the one parent household and specifically black women for doing that.
And what's wrong with that?
I wouldn't necessarily blame them for that because I don't think that's the case. I think the issue, again, right, like the broader issue when we start looking at social systems and how systems play a role in this, right, is that when we start talking about raising, loving on, and making sure that black children grow up to be successful and full adults, right? Like one of the broader issues is that regardless if you have a two-parent household, Trayvon Martin had a two-parent household, right? Regardless if
No,
you
he
have
didn't.
no,
His parents were separated. His father with another woman.
well, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, so but again, right?
One
Like,
parent.
well, it's a one-parent household, but they were co-parenting.
No, they
He was
couldn't
going
get.
to his dad's place.
I know, but his father and mother did not get along.
Well, so what doesn't matter
And his
is
father with another woman.
what doesn't matter, right, is whether or not mom and dad get along. What does matter is the fact that they're both contributing to their child's life.
But since you are a
Right.
community organizer, I'm just asking you. You had two parents in the home, so your life was, you carried yourself differently than the kids who did not or do not have two parents in the home. Do you think that if they had two parents in the home, they would carry themselves differently if they had two parents?
Well, it all depends on context, right? Like, because if it depends on who their parents are, right? Like, because you could have two parents in a home who are incredibly abusive. You could have two parents in a home, right, who aren't necessarily showing you the things that they need to show you. You can have two parents in a home, and you could still, right, like, be put on a path of all kind of struggle. A New York Times report came out that showed that black boys who are raised in two-parent households with the highest level of income still have the highest probability of being poor in their lifetime. And that's not because of the parents and the parents alone, it's because of institutional and systemic racism.
But what I'm asking you, and I haven't gotten an answer to, because you're a community organizer, you're involved, so you would know, if the kids had two parents in the home, are they more likely or less likely to conduct themselves in a better way?
Well, again, I think
With all being equal, are they more likely or less likely?
there's no research that would support
What do
that.
you say personally? Are they more likely or less likely if they were raised by two parents to
Again.
conduct themselves in a better way?
So again, as a not only as an organizer but also as a researcher, as a scholar, right? Like I would strongly caution against rhetoric like that because
Like what?
saying that somebody would conduct themselves better if they
But I'm
have
asking,
or
I didn't
haven't.
say, I'm just asking.
Yeah,
Are
so
they less likely or more likely to conduct themselves in a better way if they had two parents?
no, like
They're
again,
less likely to?
no, it's that in order to make a claim, right? To make a claim that says somebody is more or less likely to do something, right? Like what we would need is we would need data that would suggest that, somebody is more or less likely to behave in a certain way based on a particular set of criteria, right? Now, what the research has shown us, especially when we're talking about raising black children, in particular black boys, it doesn't matter what your social circumstances are, right? It doesn't matter how you behave or how you act, or even if we think about somebody like Elijah McClain, who was killed by police, last year. You had this really soft boy who was playing violin for kittens, right? It doesn't necessarily matter who you are or in what sort of aspect you have. You are still subjected to racial inequality.
Amazing.
So it doesn't necessarily matter, right? Like if you have two parents in a household or not, because we live in a white supremacist country, that is the United States of America.
Amazing. So let me just ask, did your parents, two parents in your home, did they impact you in a negative way or a positive way?
Well, they're the reason why I'm here now,
Did they impact you in a positive way or a negative way?
in a positive way.
So they had a lot to do with the way you carry yourself, the fact you went on and got a college degree.
And my parents also raised me, right, to make sure that whatever I do, that I work with, I build with, and I love the black community.
And do you
right?
think that would happen for most of the kids if they were raised by two parents?
If they were raised by two parents who instilled in them values that similar to my parents,
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I think you can do that with one parent. You can do that with no parents, and you can do that with, good mentors.
But
in the
how about
community.
two parents?
Again, right, like the parents in and of themselves, right, like while it is an important factor, it's not the only factor.
What is the root cause of gang membership? What's the root cause for boys and girls joining gangs?
Well, I think it depends on right like what you're looking at it as, right? Like for the young folks who I've worked with who are involved in gangs, and for the people who I knew who were involved in gangs, right? Like some of it was connected to family, some of it was connected to economic opportunity, right? Some of it was for
So when you
protection.
say economic opportunity, are you saying they're stealing and killing because they want money?
Well, I mean, when you have no other options, yeah, like that's
We have no other option. You would steal and kill to get it.
well, I think I wouldn't because I have options,
Right.
right?
But if you
Like,
didn't, you would steal and kill for it.
well, I think again, right? I don't think it's that simple, right? Because when we're talking about broader issues, even when we talk about crime, right? Like when we talk about crime and these broader issues, a lot of them are crimes of poverty, right? Like to give you an example, in the state of California, we passed a proposition called Prop 47. Prop 47 turned nonviolent drug offenses into from felonies to misdemeanors, which then allowed the people who were locked up behind drug offenses, mainly for marijuana, right, to now go get jobs. And some cities have invested in permits. Now one of the issues with this is that at one point in time it was illegal, right, to sell weed. But now, right, in 2020, right, over 80% of the companies that are running dispensaries are now white owned. So here are white men posed to do the very same thing black men were trying to do, but black men were incarcerated for it at a disproportionately high rate, right? So again, so when we talk about this idea of crime, right, like yeah, people are doing it because they're trying to make money, the same way that these white folks are trying to do.
Which is most important, to change the character of the person or to change the law,
It's to change the law.
but not the character?
I mean, I think systems impact behaviors. So when the systems change, right, then therefore the behaviors will then change,
If
right?
men and women,
So to give you an example of what that looks like, right? Like on that campaign that I was telling you about back in
yeah,
2012, the Measure GG campaign,
right.
we did that with all black male youth. Some of them who had third and fourth grade reading levels when we started working with them. Their reading levels increased, their abilities to speak publicly increase, right? Their abilities to read and write increase, right? Like we taught young folks how to do college level research, research that I learned as a PhD candidate. We taught 15, 16, and 17-year-old black boys in Inglewood, California how to do that, right? And that was because, and again, that was because we invested in them and we created a system that then changed their behavior.
Would men and women, boys and girls of character, would they rob, steal, and kill?
If they needed to.
Would they do it if they're of character?
Well, so to give you an example of what this looks like, right? In New Orleans, when Hurricane Katrina happened, right? There were two pictures that the internet wasn't as popular, but there was a lot of media frenzy around it.
Yeah.
There were two pictures. One picture of a white couple who was going in the stores and looking for things, and the media said that they were scavenging and that they were trying to survive.
Right.
When a group of black folks did it, they said they were looters, right? Both people are doing exactly what they need to do, but they're framing it differently, right? So again, like when we talk about of character, people do what they need to do in order to survive. And I think the broader challenge to the phrase or to the framing of it is that if we are really going to be of character, we're going to talk about character, right? Like we need to be talking about the character of the people who allow, right, like poverty, who allow these things to happen while certain people benefit and the rest of us, including regular white folks, don't benefit.
So would men and women, boys and girls of character, would they rob, steal, and kill?
I think the real question is, would a country that was of character, right, allow an entire American city to go without clean water for 5 years? Would a country that was of character, right, like, allow over 1,100 of their citizens every single year to be killed by law enforcement? Would a country that was of character, right, like allow, their education system to not be one of the top 5 in the world, right? To not invest in it that way and still brag about being the best country. So I think when we're talking about this idea of character, right, like I think people's character is a reflection of the systems that they're a part of the systems that they're in. So think about that.
Not a reflection of the parents, but of the system,
It's a reflection of the systems, yes.
but not of the parents.
Yeah.
So with men, women, boys, and girls of character, would they rob, steal, and kill?
Again, like I said, if they needed to.
You saying yes, they would?
If so for example,
Are you saying yes, they would?
what I'm saying, right? Like what I'm saying is, I think the broader framing of the question then implies that there are certain people who are not of character, right? Like who are doing these things because there's something inherently wrong with them, not the conditions that they're in. I'm saying that if you change the conditions, people change.
But you haven't answered my, because I don't know. You're the expert, so I don't know. I'm asking, would men, women, boys, and girls of character, would they rob, steal, and kill?
Well, I think so. To give you an example,
Can
right?
you just
like,
give me a yes or no?
it's
Because
not,
of time?
absolutely not, because it's not that simple, right? Somebody like Malcolm X, right? Like who did rob, steal, was a part of all kind of other things, right? Became one of the most famous orators and black leaders in the world, right? You know, and that's because, you know, folks from the Nation of Islam poured into him and invested in him and his leadership, right? So so when we're talking about this idea of like are people of character, right? Like character can change when you change the conditions. So
Are you a Christian?
I am a Christian, yes.
You are a Christian. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is education?
How important is education?
Yes.
Like a 12. It's hella important.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it to have 2 parents in the home?
I think what matters more is, are these parents supported? It's cool to have 2 parents. I think it's important to have 2 parents. I think what I'm more concerned about is, do these 2 parents have the resources and tools that they need in order to raise their children?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it to have 2 parents in the home?
I think it's important for these parents to have the resources and tools that they need.
On what scale, 1 to 10? How important is it to have 2 parents in the home?
I think again, right? Like I think it's a 10 for the parents having the resources that they need. That's what I'm going to say,
But
and
you
that's
gave
my
me a
answer.
12 when I asked about the education,
Yeah.
but you don't know how important it is for 2 parents in the home?
No,
On a scale of 1 to 10?
No, no. I'm telling you. What I'm saying is, it's important to have, for those parents to have resources. You can have 2 parents in the home, but like if you are living in poverty, if you don't have access to the resources, if you can't feed your children, right, then it is still going to be an issue, right? So you can have one parent, right, like you can have one parent, you know, this parent has a 6-figure job, this parent is working really well, their kid goes to an Ivy League school, right, and then that's what happens, and that's a good thing.
So you're not able to give me a number on the parents?
I'm telling you right now, it is a 10 for parents having resources. I refuse to answer the question on whether or not it's important for 2 parents, because I don't fundamentally believe that 2 parents and 2 parents alone is going to be the factor. It's important for the parents to have resources.
How important is it to have, for black boys and girls, to have a father in their life?
I think what matters the most is, do they have positive adults in their life?
How about
right?
a father?
Like,
How important it is to have a father?
I think, so to give you an example, right, like there's a professor at San Francisco State University who talks about this idea of social fatherhood, right, where young men who are in the community, right, would become mentored and who are...
Because of time, I'm asking you how important it is for black boys and girls to have their father in their life.
I think it's always important for parents to be involved in their kids' lives, right? I wouldn't disagree with that. I think it is in a scale, I would say a 10 for parents to be involved.